Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to another tutorial on Adobe Animate CC 2020. In this tutorial we are going to go through the 8th lesson of your textbook Adobe Animate CC Classroom in a Book 2020 release. In lesson 8 we are going to demonstrate how to add interactivity to your Animate file using JavaScript. As we explained in previous videos, you can add interactivity to Animate files using ActionScript or JavaScript, which depends on the type of your file. Since the type of our file, as you can see here, HTML5 canvas document, then we are going to use JavaScript to add interactivity. And basically this is the start file that is available with your lesson, so I'm going to save it as another name. So I'm going to save it as start working copy or my working or whatever name you want to save it. So you keep the original one in case you wanted to go back and do something else with it. So in this file basically we are going to start by creating buttons for this fictional restaurant guide, and then we add interactivity to our button. So as you can see here we have two layers, the layer title which is and the background layer which are both locked. So we don't change them and we don't need to change them. So I'm going to create a new layer and I'm going to call it button or buttons, and I will start creating the buttons. First of all we are going to go to insert, new symbol, and we are going to name it. For example, you can name it anything right now. I will show you how to change it later on. This is why I will name it anything. It's going to be a button and it's going to be OK. You click OK, and now we start creating the button ourselves. So as you remember, the button has 4 states: up, over, down, and hit. So I'm going to just press F5 to extend my up state. So far I don't have anything, so I'll go to the library. You have here everything related to the button that you will create. So we start with the restaurant thumbnail. I'm going to drag it here and I'm going to put it on the stage. I will go to the properties and make sure that X and Y are set to 0 and 0. Anyway, you don't have to do it if you don't like to, but just to make sure that I'm starting from the origin point. So this is basically the up state of my button. Now when you hover the button or you move over it, I will see something else. So I will create another layer for the over state and I will press F6, and here I'm gonna add another library item, and basically this is the Gabelloffel over info. As you can see here, I'm gonna just drag it and put it here. Okay, if you are turning on the snap, it's gonna snap directly, and if you go to the properties you see the X is 0 and the Y, the value of Y is properly aligned. Anyway, if you want, because it's snapped, you can always refer to the book for exact values. Okay, anyway, I'm not gonna create the lesson in an identical way. I'm gonna just make sure to make it as close as possible to your book. So this is the over state here, and now we need to put the down state. I will create a new layer for the down state, and I will press F6 because I'm gonna add content here. Now the content we are gonna add to the button, it's not gonna be an image or anything. It's gonna be a sound, okay, which is this sound here. You hear basically. This is the sound. It's simply you drag it to the stage. You see here now your sound is added. So that's it. This is how you design a button simply. Now your button is designed. This is the over state and this is the down state. Okay, now we will try it. We'll go back and we need to add it here first, and this is the Gabelloffel button. So basically, where is my button? I will go down here to check for it or to find it. This is the one. So now I will rename it. Of course I will call it Gabelloffel. Basically you can call it anything. The symbol name does not have to follow the same name conventions that you apply for the instance names. in which you should not add spaces, you cannot start with a number, you cannot add special characters, you can't do anything, because basically this is a library item name. It's not going to be used in coding. Okay, so this is the first one, Gabel Lawful. I'm going to create basically a folder to add my buttons to. You should do this as well, just to keep yourself organized. As you can see here in the book, everything is in the folder. Now basically this is the main menu button that they already created. I will put it here in the buttons as well, and now I will drag the button and put it here. You see, you can put it anywhere anyway. If you want exact locations, you can always refer to the book and find out the exact X and Y. I will press Ctrl Enter to test the movie. Don't worry about the warning right now. And you see, this is your button. If you can see this, if you can hear the sound, I don't know. So this is the button. Now I will just close this or keep it open. Now it's time to continue designing the other button. So what I'm gonna do, basically, instead of repeating the same thing, insert and new symbol and add the button, I will just duplicate this button. And before I duplicate it, I just need to know the naming of the other restaurant, which is Gari Gari. Okay, so I will duplicate this and I'm gonna name it Gari Gari. This is the other restaurant name. I will now double click it, and I'm gonna just change the media asset. So I'm gonna do this. First of all, you click this and you go to properties, and here you see you have not symbol. It is a little bit different in 2020. This is swap symbol. Okay, it's in the previous version this was a button called swap. Now this is the swap symbol. I will swap it. I will swap this with the Gari Gari thumbnail. Okay, you see it directly changes. It's very simple, very efficient way to do it, because you don't have to reposition it and redo everything from scratch. Exactly the same thing for this. I will click it, swap symbol, and I will go to the restaurant content. I will select Gari Gari, and we don't need to change, oops, sorry, not this one, not the content, basically the over information previews. This is the preview, this one, not the content, the previews. This is the Gari Gari over info, so it's changed. You're not going to change the down sound. If you want to change it, you can change it, but from here you see I have only one sound file in the library, so I have one sound file in the list. Anyway, we're going to have a dedicated video for sound and how to add it, how to work with it, but for now we're not going to change the sound. So this is the Gari Gari button, and we go back to the main scene, and from the library I just drag it and put it here, and that's it. And basically make sure that you add them all in the buttons layer. Now I'm going to speed up the process, because I'm going to just do the rest of the buttons, the other two buttons. Okay, so you can just follow up. So now, students, after I created the other two buttons, I'm going to add them. So this is the El Piatto, and basically, and this is the Pierre Platters. Anyway, you just need to position the first one and the last one properly, and then you can select all of them and you go to the align. Make sure to align them and distribute them horizontally. You see, you can align them using any of these alignments, of course not these. Okay, these things, align top, bottom, and center, the vertical alignment, in other words. So now you have the buttons. I'm gonna test the movie to make sure that they are all okay, properly designed. You see, okay, so now I have my buttons. Very good, all good. Now it is time to do what? To design the content, or to add the content of the restaurants, students. So I will click a new layer, create a new layer, and I'm gonna name it content. And basically you should be always organized and create layers for each of your content. So in this content, and basically I'm gonna just, for example, go to the second number 2 and press F5. You can extend later if you want. Basically I'm gonna start adding content, or the first content, from here. For some reason maybe you need to add a quick animation or something, but anyway, it is just you can add from number 10. So this is the first content, second, third, and the fourth restaurant. Okay, anyway, these timings are you should go to the book if you want exact timing. Basically, if you don't have an animation for your content, you can start them frame by frame. So 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so from where I get the contents are available here in your library. You see restaurant content. So I'm going to start with the Gabble Waffle content. Sorry, I will undo because I need to add it on this keyframe. So this is the Gabble Waffle content. Make sure that it covers all the buttons. Okay, so when it is available, when it is visible, you don't see the buttons basically. And I'm gonna make this just 45 and 150, and you see the buttons is a little bit visible. So what I'm gonna do is just okay, it's locked, so I'm gonna just make them a little bit closer to each other, but you need always to go and select and distribute them horizontally one more time. So now let me lock them again, and now when the button is, yep, this is, remember this, it is going to be 45 by 150 anyway. So all the other contents are going to be the same thing. So I'm going to add the second content here. This is the content. I'm going to just drop it anywhere, and then I go here and make it 45 by 150. You see, this is how you do it, and El Piatto. And anyway, you don't waste your time doing the positioning manually if you know the values. And the last one, which is going to be Pierre Platters, I'm going to add it from the library. You can speed up this process if it's very simple for you, of course. And this is going to be 150, and that's it. Now we added all the contents. Now when you run the application or the file, you're going to see the contents playing one after the other, you see, without stopping, because we don't have a stop item yet, so a stop code, sorry, no item code yet. So first of all, before I finish, I will lock this and I will unlock the buttons, because I forget to add the main menu button. Basically, I will go to the button, I will add the main menu button, I'm gonna add it here. Okay, you might wonder why there is a gap here. You see, basically you can fix this by double clicking to the menu and make sure that you press delete, because it seems that there is an extra enter. If you want to keep it, you can keep it as you want, and then this is also can be done. You can double click this, okay, to make sure it is fit. And anyway, you can select those and align them, but there is no need, it is not that very obvious. I'm gonna go back to fit in window, and this is going to be my main menu buttons. Okay, I will lock the buttons right now, and this is the content. Now we are ready to add the coding, and basically, but before adding the coding, we will add labels here. So I will add a label, because as I said, especially in JavaScript where the frame count starts from 0, it can be confusing if you are exchangeably using JavaScript and ActionScript, and it is highly recommended that you don't use frame numbers. You always use labels, because they are more efficient and flexible. You don't need to change the code if you add or delete any frames. So I'm gonna go to the properties here. When you click any keyframe, you're gonna go to the name and add a label. So I'm gonna add a Gabble, because this is the restaurant called Gabble, and here I'm gonna add a Gary with Y, and basically you can add labels. You can add label 1, 2, 3 if you want. And here I'm gonna add Piatto, and here we are gonna add Pierre. Okay, labels, and you can add a label here called start, or you can keep it 0 if you want, but I'm gonna call it start. So here we are gonna start. Now to add actions or to add code, you always have to create a new layer. Actually it's not a must, but it is highly recommended that you create a new layer for the coding and you make it the topmost layer. So I'm gonna call it actions. You can call it actions, or you can call it JavaScript. If it's JavaScript, ActionScript. If it's ActionScript, usually I call it actions. And we are going to start adding actions from the first keyframe here. Okay, so I'm going to go to the actions panel by pressing F9, and as explained in previous videos, in JavaScript you have this wizard that you can use. So I'm going to use the wizard. I'm going to stop timeline. Okay, you see it is this dot stop, and next with this frame, it's not going to be linked to any object because we don't have any object yet. Okay, even though you might say, but we have buttons. You have buttons, but we didn't add basically instance names to them, so you cannot code them without instance names. So finish and add. This is your code. Anyway, this is how the code adds, and you see all the codes added by the program or by Animate. It's gonna be commented, which helps you understand what's this code about. So now you can check this code if it's working or not, by testing your movie. You see now it is not playing. Why? Of course because it's stopped. Okay, now we are ready to add. When we click, nothing happens. Now we are ready to add the code to our clicks. I'm gonna just close these things, and I will go to the timeline, and I will add the buttons or the animation, the interactivity to my buttons. First of all, we need to give them an instance name. Now this instance name, you cannot select them because they are locked, so you will unlock them. Instance name, you can give any instance name that you want, but following the right rules. Start with character or underscore, followed by character, underscore, or a number. No special characters, no white spaces. So I'm gonna name this Gabel BTN, and the suffix just to help me myself as a programmer to understand later on, especially as a programmer, when your project gets very big, these extensions are gonna be very useful for you to recognize that this is a button, not a movie clip, not something else. And this is going to be Gary BTN. Anyway, you don't have to follow this naming if you don't want. And Piatto BTN, and last one is Pierre BTN. The most important thing here is you need to remember the exact naming, exact case, because JavaScript, as you know, and ActionScript are both case sensitive. So now I am ready to add my coding. So again, I will go here to F9 and I will use the wizard. So you're gonna go to and stop. You see, go to frame label and stop, not the frame number. Go to frame label and stop with this timeline. Next, so you can change the frame label here if you want. I'm gonna change it to first of all to Gabel, because this is the label that I will use, or I added already. If you don't remember it, you can just have a look to it here. Now with this frame, no, it's not this frame, it's on mouse click on what? On the Gabel BTN, and that's it. Add and finish. Now you can go to add using wizard again, or you can simply doing what? You can simply copy this and paste it 3 more times. Okay, but make sure that you change everything. So this is going to be Gary, and this one is going to come here as well, and this is going to be Piatto button, and this is the Piatto button. So first of all, we have the Gabel. Oops, I missed one. Okay, no problem. I make it for the other one, for the Pierre. Make sure of the names, Pierre and Pierre. And now, since this is the last one, you can cut it from here. Anyway, it's just to keep yourself organized, and you put it all the way. You add it here at the end. Okay, so now we have, if we just maximize this, we have the Gary BTN. It goes to the Gary. Go to the stop. Piatto, it goes to Piatto. Pierre, it goes to Pierre. Okay, and let us test this and see what problem that we will have. it's not a problem, it is what we call a logical error or a logical issue. So the program runs without any problem, but the problem here, when you click, you cannot click the buttons because they are below this. Okay, you cannot see them at least. Okay, and this is a problem we need to fix. So you need to click main menu to go back, so you don't, or you can't see the button. So we need to add coding to main menu button here. So this is also very simple. So anyway, you can write it down if you want, but I will use this. We are gonna go to unstop a frame label as well, this frame label, and this frame label is gonna be start. And next, okay, with this frame, no, on a mouse click. Okay, I cannot see this. So why? Because it seems I forget to add an instance name. As I told you, this is gonna be, I'm gonna call it menu btn. Okay, so I will go back to F9 again. So this is the first keyframe I have, and I'm gonna exactly do the same thing, or copy paste, but I'm gonna do it so you can see it again. Go to label with this timeline line as start, and then you click next with mouse click on the menu button and finish and add. Okay, so now let me click this one. That's it. I have nothing to do with the button, so I'm gonna lock them one more time, and I will press this here. You see, main menu. No, it's not working. Let us see why it's not working. Let me test it now and find out what was the problem basically. So now students, as you can see, it works. So what I did basically, let me explain the issues that I have. Anyway, the most important thing in programming, that you don't give up and you don't panic when you have any issues. The problem with this, why it was not working, because I did a spelling mistake with the Pierre. Instead of IE, I wrote EI. With the button, frankly speaking, it seems that there's something wrong with the button that I add. So I tried several solutions, like making it number instead of the instead of label. And let me check now, the label should work as well. Let me show you something first. Okay, so it's gonna work. Yep, as I expected. So what I did as a final solution, I said maybe I did something wrong with the button, so I just deleted the button and then I added it again from the library and give it an instance name, and it worked. So now this is basically your file. As you can see, it is working without any issues. Just give it a time. So, and you go to the main menu, here you go to the main menu, here you go to the main menu, and here you go to the main menu. Of course, if you don't want this to happen, you see the clicks. One solution to this is that you go to the timeline and you remove the frames. So the buttons should not be available with the contents, of course, except of the main menu, that should be available all the time, so you can't put it in a separate frame. Okay, this is one of the solutions. So now, before we end, there is something else that we need to do. Actually, two things. We need to add animation to the contents to fade in, and then we need to add animations to the over, to this one. Let me go to the main menu, to this icons here, okay, to this over information. So I'm going to add one, and I'm going to let you add the rest, as well as with these things. I'm going to add one, and you are going to add the rest by yourself. So first of all, we are going to start with the buttons. So I'm going to go to the Gary Lovell button, and I'm clicking here. When you click the layer, everything is going to be selected. You see, now I will right click I will you have to double click. I will go inside, select everything, and I will create a motion tween. It's simple. It's gonna change this to 1 second. Okay, the animation, it's gonna be just fade in animation. I'm gonna go to this, click, I'm gonna add a color effect which is alpha. It's gonna start 0 at the beginning, and at the end I'm gonna click this and it is going to go to 100. Okay, as simple as that. Now when you go to the untested, let me show you. Now it is not finished. When you need to add something else to it in order to work properly. You see, when you go to it, it will continue fading in. In other words, you need to stop it, right? So first of all, the animation is slow, so I'm gonna just make it 10 frames, and I'm gonna add a new layer, and this layer is gonna be named actions, and you have to do these things for all your buttons. And at the end here, I'm gonna press F6 to add a keyframe at the end, and I'm gonna add a code, and this time I'm gonna just add the code myself, this dot stop. There is no need to go to the wizard. And now when you test it, let us test the movie and check. You see, it's okay. It's better than this. This is way better. So you have to do the rest for your file yourself. Okay, you know the idea now. You can continue doing the rest. So now what about this animation? I'm gonna go to the content here, right click, and I'm gonna create a motion tween. Okay, sorry, let me just select the button here, and I will click here, and sorry, the content, I need the content. So this is the content selected, motion tween. It's since the tweens usually should be in separate layers, it's going to be separated in separate layer. This is not a problem. It's fine. Again, you are going to do a simple fade in effect. So it's going to start from 0 all the way to the, you click again to the end. Okay, but as we did with the previous animation, you need to stop here exactly, so it's not going to continue, okay, to other animations. I'm going to show you what do I mean by that. First of all, let me go to the actions. Now what you need to change is this. Let me start with the gobble, because this is what I did. It should not be go to unstop, it should be go to underplay, because if it go to understop, it will go to understop at the beginning of the animation, so you're not going to see anything. Let me show you how it's going to look like, and you will think that there is an error. Actually, it's not an error, but it is go to understop, so it's not continuing. You see, when you click, you're not seeing anything because it works, but it is transparent. It's 0% alpha, 0 value alpha. Okay, so I will, as I said, change the code to go to and play for the gopal. Go to and play, and now I will test it to show you now how it's gonna look like and what issue that we are gonna have, and we need to add stop. So now when you click, you see it will animate, but it will continue to others, because if you see your timeline here, there is no stop. The stop only at the first frame, so keyframe, so it's gonna continue playing. So in order to stop it at each keyframe, you need to go at the end of each animation, press F6 on the actions layer, and then F9, just write stop dot, or this dot stop, and this is gonna fix the issue. Okay, let me show you now. Click animation, it's stopped. Very good. You go back. Now this is without animation. Now this is how we did the animation for this over information, and for the restart information. Now your task is, you can go to your lesson, and as a kind of practicing, you continue with the rest of with the 3 other buttons. Thank you very much. I hope this was helpful, and thank you for watching. See you in next tutorial, inshallah. Have a nice day.